My name is Logan Farrow. Thank you all for being here today. Like Rob said, I'm a vendor development manager at TD SYNNEX. I support Impartner and a lot of vendors, much like some of yourselves, to find the right tools and have the right support to work in the channel. I'm excited to be here today to talk to you guys about an exciting topic that is very important to distribution, the modern distributor, leveraging new tools and platforms for growth. With that being said, I will hand it over to Matt Karst to kick us off.
All right, thank you, Logan. And this is an interesting setup. I'm used to a big prompter, a time down, like I know exactly how much time we have left. So if anybody has a phone handy and has a timer on it, could you set a timer for about 40 minutes out from now? And if it goes off, that's fine. Everybody will hear it, but I'll hear it, and I'm going to know to wind it down because we've got a lot to cover in about 45 minutes, and I just want to make sure we stay on schedule for the Impartner team. Thank you all for inviting us, first of all. Boy, this is small. All right, we're going to make this work. First of all, I put all the logos of the folks that had registered here. First of all, for those vendors, ISVs, that are on here that do business with TD SYNNEX, I just wanted to put your logo up here to thank you. Thank you for your business. Thank you for trusting us and making sure that we can help you scale, grow, and get stuff done, is what we like to say. But for those that are on here that might not be, then this will be a little bit of an education for you. And again, those that like the Palo Altos, et cetera, that have done and been a distributor partner of ours for many, many years. This is going to be probably, going over a lot of things you might already know, but maybe some new things, because we have to stay modern today in today's evolving world. So let me jump right in. When many of you hear the word distributor, you may kind of think of this picture. You might think of this, because for 40 plus years, that's what we've been doing. And by the way, we still have 14 of these logistics centers, some over 1 million square feet, all around North America, that still pick, pack, and ship, put things on planes, trains, and trucks to get them delivered faster, quicker, to help our vendors, to really make sure business is flowing. We still do a lot of that, but that's not what we hope you'll think of when you think of distribution today. And by the way, one other thing, the other thing that you'll know about us, we operate at very low margin. I wish I could brag about our margins, but that's not the distributor's job and role. We operate at single-digit margins, and so we have to be good. We have to be efficient. And we're a publicly traded company. Any of our financials are out there, but when you operate at single-digit margin, you've got to make sure that you've got everything buttoned up for our vendor partners and for our reseller partners. Because very quickly, one mistake, we can be underwater. We could be losing money on a deal. So remember that we operate at low margins, but you know what? The landscape has changed, as we all know. And I've been doing this over 40 years now, and God, it just scares me when I say that number. But I did start in college working for IBM, and that was my first foray into technology, and spent a lot of time with IBM on the vendor side, then the reseller side, and then the service provider side with the global technology satellite TV company, then startup, and then distribution for the last 12 years in distribution. So I've kind of been in the supply chain, and boy, have I seen this landscape change. And what I want to bring out is that a distributor, whether it's our name in the middle there or any other distributor, we're in the middle of this ecosystem. We are bringing together, and we don't even like to call ourselves anymore a distributor. We talk about it with our shareholders and our shareholder calls as a solution aggregator. And on the left-hand side here, you're going to see that there's a lot of things we're doing for vendors. On the right-hand side, for our partners, which are resellers, think of MSPs, MSSPs, global systems integrators, financial systems integrators. They're VARs. They're called all different terms, but that's our customer. We're doing a lot of these things, and in 40 minutes, we're never going to get through. And I could unpack all the things that we're doing to make sure we're really staying relevant to the supply chain. So what we did is we are boiling it down to 3 topics today that we're going to kind of dive into a little bit deeper. And we won't even go deep enough just even on these 3, but let us do a fair job of at least giving you the landscape of what we see is happening with digital automation. And I loved hearing about some of the things that Visa and others are doing around digital automation. Automation is key because you got to be efficient. You got to take cost out of the business. We're going to talk a little bit about our enablement and how we are using our capabilities to help enable our vendors, how we're enabling our resellers to get more stuff done, to grow. And then sales, I hope, is important to everybody in the room, is how can we help you accelerate sales? And there's some key areas underneath sales we're going to talk about. So these are the things that are important. But one thing in the past 40 years that hasn't changed is we still operate at low margins. In spite of all that, we're still there. We can't figure out how to move beyond that single-digit margin, but that's okay. And we're a global technology company. We operate in over 100 countries, and my role is North America. I love North America. I don't need to travel anymore and there's plenty of business here right within the continental U.S. and Canada for us. So let's dive into these first 3 topics. First, number 1, digital automation. Underneath digital automation, I'm going to kind of just touch on AI. I don't think anybody in the room is going to argue AI is kind of important to stay on top of. And I'm not bought in that AI is going to replace us, robots and all that, but I am bought in that those of us that adopt AI are not going to get replaced. But those of people that are out there and are working and they're just ignoring AI, or they're just not willing to learn new things and how to leverage AI, be careful. You could get replaced by a human that is leveraging AI. So AI is really important to us internally. Operational efficiency is incredibly important. How do we take cost out? And we're going to touch on that in a minute. And then I don't know if any of the ISVs or any of the vendors in the room are leveraging any of the marketplaces. If your products are out on the marketplace, whether it's Azure, AWS, GCP, it doesn't matter. If you're out there on the marketplaces, good for you, because you are going to where consumers and end users like to buy. That's the way they now are starting to transact. However, all those partners and resellers, for the most part, they've been giving us feedback over the last several years. They hate the marketplaces. Why? Because they are bifurcated. They're now out of the loop. When their end users go direct and start buying your product there, they lose visibility to it. They're not in the loop. Monetarily, they're out. So we have been working for 3 years with these giant hyperscalers, and we fixed that. And we're going to talk a little bit about that. We now have a way that you can get into, matter of fact, Logan, I think, is going to cover how we can help you leverage and get more visibility and eyeballs onto offers that you might put out onto the marketplaces. So let me jump into the first one. And by the way, I'm going to try to go fast. we got a lot to get through. AI, the way that we're viewing AI within our company is, I mean, you can see the results up here, and you've seen these slides before. This is IDC and Canalys. The one takeaway from this slide is that data-driven companies are going to outperform their competitors by up to 20%. And the CAGRs speak for themselves, et cetera. And by the way, all these slides, everything that we're going to share, Logan and I, you'll be sent. So you can kind of sit back, relax a little bit, put your laptops down. You're going to get all this data. And you'll be able to read it, because I'm going to fly through a lot of this, and there's a lot of content that we just don't have the time for. But let me jump into how we're viewing AI. We kind of see it in two main ways that our vendors come to us and are approaching AI. They're either an AI enablement, or I'm sorry, embedded solution, AI embedded. And there's two big examples of Microsoft and SaaS here. Or they're an AI foundational model, like an NVIDIA partner of ours or IBM, that are building the infrastructure to really enable AI. So that's at a very high level. We're kind of breaking it down, but then we have then taken that and further separate it down into AI-enabled software, ISVs, AI accelerators, some core AI software platforms that you'll see there, and then the AI infrastructure vendors. And some are overlapping, some play in multiple areas. But you can see here we're starting to build a core foundation as a modern distributor to help our reselling partners get into AI, because they're telling us, we know we need to get into AI, but help. Are there use cases? What do we do? How do we play in this big money grab for AI? How are we going to be relevant? And so for ISVs in the room that want to learn more about how can we work you into this ecosystem and build use cases, please reach out to us. So that's one of the things that we're doing around AI. But building use cases, we built now over 70 use cases around manufacturing, healthcare, all these different segments. This is really, really key and important for us to be able to go to our partners and just say, if your wheelhouse is transportation, or it might be K-12, or you've got a really good solution for banking, here's some AI solutions already pre-built, ready for you, where we bundle. And remember, we aggregate solutions now together to create, and I'm going to give you some examples of that when we get to the enablement. Let's jump in and talk a minute about, and I loved hearing earlier today about the importance of data, because we have got a lot of data. And on the left-hand side, we've built platforms that we want to make sure we're leveraging AI from a transactional perspective. How can we speed up transaction and transaction flow? And how can we build a platform and leverage enablement? How can we enable our vendors and our partners with AI? And the foundation we call our customer data platform, 40 years of data. We leverage 250 data sources, 350,000 partners globally. Partners to us, remember, VARs, MSPs, whatever name that they're giving themselves, that's a customer of ours that we sell to. 350,000, 30 million end users, and 30 billion data points. Okay, that's impressive numbers, but what are we doing with it? Well, now we got to take that data, and we've built the AI technology underneath and working hard so we can be really relevant to pinpoint who's buying what where. Because remember, we have the visibility to not just what vendors' products are selling, but who is buying them from us, which reseller, which partner, and where are they landing? We've got all that data, and how can we put that, and not only where are they landing, but what kind of vertical are they landing in? What's the size of the company? How frequent are they buying? So we got those trends. This is probably, Casey, right in your wheelhouse of what Visa is understanding and doing as well. So this is the platform. Now, we have to, so let's talk about real quickly the left-hand side, which is the transactional. We have to be really, really good and efficient if we're going to help our vendors with quoting, order entry. Now, in the quoting, we're really proud that we've gotten those vendors that want to really get integrated with us and really, APIs fully get things automated. We're down to, I think last week I heard we've got a quote to from the minute we receive it back out the door in 3.7 minutes. That's not, I said minutes. Now, that's not that common because not all vendors have the capability to do all that API, but we still have like a 2 to 4 hour SLA. We've got to be efficient with the data to get things turned around quickly, because in this world, speed means a lot. When it comes, you've got to be able to deliver that kind of efficiency. And then order entry has got to be easy and simple. And then in customization, we have a EC Express tool that is our reseller-facing tool that we use and can configure so resellers 24/7 can be transacting business. We want to make sure it's never down. Now, we still do the old-fashioned, they pick up the phone, they call their TD SYNNEX account rep, their client exec, and they still get stuff done because, again, that's not going to get replaced, but we've got AI underneath the engine here to make sure that transaction flow is really working and very, very quickly. So operational excellence is important to us, and we want to make sure that our vendors and ISVs that we partner with understand that it comes in a lot of different flavors, but AI-enabled portals, embedded configurators, ISVs want us to make sure that we're integrating with, the ConnectWise and QuoteWorks and tools like that we've got that integration work done. And again, we won't be able to dive into this in detail today just due to time, but I want to make sure everybody understands that the modern distributor has to be here. We can't just be fueling up forklifts in logistics centers, all right? All right, next is up, I'm going to bring back up Logan, and Logan's going to talk a little bit about something that is near and dear and I hear about from about every ISV I speak to today, which is marketplaces. And we've built our own marketplace. 10 years ago, we started, and we think it's one of the best in the industry right now. And we'll put it up and stack it up against anybody else's marketplace. But the big unique difference, our marketplace is secured privately and only available to our resellers and partners. End users can't go there and buy product. But the key link, is now we're linked to all our ISV's offers that are out on the hyperscalers. We can push and direct and get more demand onto those offers that if you've done the work with private offers. So that's just a little tee up for you, Logan. Go ahead.
Thank you very much, Matt. I appreciate that. So as we were saying, one of the fastest growing aspects of our business today is the digital marketplaces. So these are marketplaces that are operated by the 3 largest cloud service providers, AWS, Microsoft Azure, and Google Cloud. These are platforms to leverage. Businesses can sell, buy, and distribute their software and solutions. Like Matt was saying earlier, a lot of our partners and resellers are seeing this kind of as a disruption to their business because that money's not flowing through the channel. So what we've done at TD SYNNEX is develop our own platform called Stream1. This is a unified platform that allows vendors to offer unique listings to our resale ecosystem. So that is all-encompassing. So this gives us a chance to push everybody's offering out to our larger ecosystem of partners. The Stream1 platform is currently doing about $4 billion monthly in transactions and has over 20,000 partners currently on it. So the one thing I want to highlight here, and that's really important, is the way that this works is you can extend private offers. These are unique private offers that you list on these marketplaces to the channel. And how that works is you list your private offer. You have an opportunity to sell this to anybody that is onboarded with AWS, Microsoft Azure, or Google Cloud. But like we're saying, the resellers that we have that are onboarded with us aren't able to go out and they're seeing end users go and make commitments to these hyperscalers. So the big thing for us is finding those burn down commits. There's over $400 billion this year alone that's being committed by end users to these hyperscalers. And we want to try to capitalize on some of that. We've got a unique sales team that trains our partners and vendors to identify some of these burn down solutions. So this is money that has to be spent over usually a fiscal year. So at the end of the year, if you don't spend these dollars, they just go away. So there's a lot of opportunity to find ways to sell your solution based on these burn down commits. This is a graphic that kind of explains, does a good job of explaining what this process looks like. So your products are listed on AWS, Google Cloud, or Microsoft Azure. And then through private offers, we can extend that to our larger channel partners through the StreamOne platform. You can also list your offers directly on StreamOne if you're onboarded with TD SYNNEX. There's also a one-time contract that is separate from becoming a partner that you can use to get on StreamOne and make sure that your product is available to a larger audience. So the main goal here is to put the connectors in place to give you more visibility to your solution and make sure that you are leveraging these tools to the best of your abilities. This is a little screenshot of what the platform looks like. It's very user-friendly. There's lots of things that you can do to increase your visibility in terms of ad banners and targeted message placement. There's also buttons that direct you directly to these major hyperscalers, and that's where you can browse where the private offers are for each of these vendors. The next of our main three topics that we wanted to cover is specialized enablement. So we're going to move on to programs. The modern distributor should be offering a lot of programs for enablement to help our vendors and our resellers grow and drive that growth. This is a list of a couple of opportunities that we have. We have dedicated sales teams that operate a lot of these programs and help our vendors to promote and incentivize sales. Three key things that I want to highlight that is important in distribution, things that we want to be doing to help our vendors grow. Firstly, reseller targeting. So finding the right partner for your solution, whether that is breaking it down by MSP or reseller type, and also getting in and finding out by vertical kind of where your solution fits in with our partners. The next would be technology alliances. Finding complementary solutions and different companies that you can align yourself with to either provide aggregated or bundled solutions. This is just a better way to get more eyes on your product. And then lastly, white space alignment. This is working with business analytics and insights reports to identify some end users that may be on your target list and finding out where we can fit those in, which resellers that we work with these people often, and finding ways to get you in with those resellers. Now I'd like to ask Robb to join us up on stage to go over a couple of things that we're doing right now with this program and leveraging Impartner in terms of how we can help with some of these accelerator programs.
All right, Logan, thanks. Yeah, so we were approached by TD SYNNEX to kind of help them put together this enablement program that was sponsored by Intel. And so I kind of wanted to show you a live look at this program. Okay, so the use case here is that TD SYNNEX was asked by Intel to create an enablement program around building an AI practice from a reseller's perspective. And so they identified about 200 interested resellers that said, yep, we want to go through this program. And through the use of our technology and a bunch of content that was authored by TD SYNNEX, these partners were put through a journey. And the journey was going to be really sequentially managed. So you couldn't go to training 2 without passing training 1. You couldn't skip over to training 3 without passing 1 and 2. And so there was this requirement to really incrementally sort of build upon this knowledge that TD SYNNEX developed for these partners. And of course, Intel was really interested around, hey, how long did it take them to finish the journey? What was the pass-fail rate? How many times did they have to take the quiz in order to, show competency? And if they would pass all of these trainings, and I'll just click into one. And by the way, the content that TD SYNNEX built for Intel is all AI driven. So this is a product called Synthesia. I think I'm saying that right, where you type in your text and it pops out an AI generated moderator of your content. It's actually pretty cool.
It's a human-like avatar that doesn't stumble, doesn't have bad haircuts, anything. I mean, they're just good. Yeah. Easy to watch, short clips.
So anyway, we would then provide metrics around, again, who's passed what, who's earned what, and the carrot at the end of this. So you can see here that I think there were a total of 11 lessons, and the lessons are like 5 minutes long. But still, that's a pretty decent commit to a reseller. Like, I'm going to go through these 11 lessons. But if you passed them, you were given a plane ticket to an event in Gilbert, Arizona, that continued the conversation. And so there was this really nice incentive sponsored by TD SYNNEX and Intel to get the partners motivated to do this. And I'll just kind of show you just one quick thing that was really interesting for the partner. So the partner was like, well, how's my team doing? They can log in and say, okay, I asked 15 of my employees to go through this. How are they doing? And so not only are we providing metrics to Intel, the sponsor of this enablement program, we're also providing metrics to the reseller so they can kind of crack the whip on their folks who kind of raised their hand and said, yeah, we'd love to go through this. The interesting thing about, I think, an interesting thing about this program is, of course, end of year, super rush, we got to have it now. We were able to build out this experience within about 72 hours. And that a lot of that credit goes to TD SYNNEX. They had all their training, they had all their logic, they had all their flow. We just simply went in, created those sequences, created those segments, created those journeys, and they were out the door on time.
Thank you, Rob. And he mentioned Intel was kind of the sponsor of this. They did, for the most part, fund a majority of it because did I mention we're the low margin distributor? Yeah, okay. Anyway, but yeah, so yeah, a great program. And I think Rob, thank you for coming up. We wanted to show an example of what we're doing together with Impartner. Impartner was key to making this program work. So here's an example of some of these. He just gave an example of an Intel play. Here's some other AI sales plays. Again, as a solution aggregator, the modern distributor must do more than just pick, pack, and ship. So we're trying to build and put solutions together. And again, any of the ISVs in the room, any of our vendors, let's talk. If we're not doing this with you already, let's talk about how can we put things together to make it easy for our partners to buy and sell. And so here's an example of an AI ML ops sales play that involves Domino Data Labs, NetApp, and NVIDIA. And then there's an edge solution sales play and a vision. We have 70 of these built today for our partners to grab and go. They don't have to do the engineering work. They don't have to figure it out. We've tested this, and we know that these can work in specific use cases. Next slide, please. So, and this is perfect segue into what Rob had talked about, kind of there's a flow that we've built. Here is the flow for a program that we have for our partners called Destination AI. And again, it's for our resellers, but it's also for our vendors. And as you can see, it kind of there's a very logical starting spot. AI for starters. It's 150 minutes. Yeah, you got to commit some time to it. But then you can graduate up to AI fundamentals at 240 minutes, and then prompt engineering fundamentals, really understanding how to best use prompts out there to get the most out of it, and then AI, et cetera. You can kind of see the sequence and how to actually build a practice. There's step by step. This is what we're trying to do to make sure that our partners are ready for your products and your solutions and understand how they can embrace and get into AI. So next slide, please. And this is, Rob actually showed the live version of it, but I took a screenshot of and clipped a bunch of them together because I thought this was pretty interesting. Same avatar for the most part. We have a male and a female. They're very good. They're very solid. There's no pauses. There's no stumbling around words. If you can script it, if you know what you want to, the message you want, then we can help build these kind of things. And this is a path that we did around cybersecurity. And I know it's tough to read, but you know, what for partners that really want to jump more into cybersecurity, you know, what's their revenue solution path? And then defining their competition and just different courses that they can go, quick 5-minute little clips. Again, I just wanted to show an example of some of the things that we're doing internally to help really leverage AI. Next slide. All right. This is the third and final one. So we kind of went through some of the enablement things we're doing. We started with some of the digital automation that we're doing, not only around transactional order flow, but also helping in the enablement. But now let's talk about where the rubber meets the road, sales. All right, what are we doing to try to help grow our vendors and our resellers' sales? Again, this is a 8-hour subject that we could really dive into, and we do these briefings often with vendors and resellers, but today, in the limited amount of time, I picked 5 quick areas that I want to touch on. One is our modern marketing capabilities, because I think our marketing department is just lights out, just terrific folks. I'm always impressed by what they're doing, and it seems to be every week it's something new that they're trying and putting out in the marketplace. Public sector is important. If maybe not to all of you, maybe your solutions fit only squarely right into a SMB, mid-market, enterprise, commercial type of a end user, but SLED, regulated industry, and federal business, it is big. And if your solutions may have a play there, then the modern distributor should be able to help you no matter where your solution plays. So I'm going to touch upon that. And then, can we help you with services and engineering? Absolutely. And we're going to talk about, because we have to help our resellers with some of their services bench, but we also have to help our vendors on the vendor side. And then renewals might be important to some of you, whether you're in the monthly recurring revenue game or the ARR game. Renewals, once you start to really get momentum in building your business and scale, your executives start thinking a lot about churn. There's a metric out there called churn, renewal rates, whatever, however you're defining it. Just percentage points of a loss of that, where things go dip down, can equate to millions of dollars. And so how can a modern distributor help you in that world to really make sure your renewal rate is stable or going up? We're going to talk about that briefly, and then we'll end with a little bit about creative financing. And what I mean by creative financing, no sales rep that works for one of you or your partner should go in and come back at the end of a quarter and say, I couldn't get the deal done because of a budget issue, or they didn't. There's no excuse for that if you're using and leveraging a modern distributor for our banking power. We're AAA rated. If your end user says, we can't pay for 9 months, we don't have the budget, but come back to us in 9 months, let's get the deal done today. Let's get the vendor paid today. Let's get the reseller paid today, and let us take care of that and we'll have that end user not pay for 9 months, and we'll finance it from that point forward. That's just an example. Get very creative. So leverage your modern distributor there. So let's jump into next slide here. This is a little easier for me to see now. Yeah, so some of the modern marketing capabilities, it's all around analytics and AI, persona-driven. We have a whole team that would love to meet with our vendors and just kind of talk through how can we complement your marketing efforts, not take your place, but how can we work together to really build and put together the right story that we can go out and tell. And then at the end of the day, we got to measure the ROI. And you guys are probably being asked to do that, I would imagine. Don't go out and spend budget for the sake of, spend, but what's the ROI on this? If we do this, what are we going to get back? And we have to measure that. We have to do that on behalf of our partners. Next slide. 4 minutes. Really? Okay, I'm going to rip through this next stuff. Which I kind of did anyway. I've already kind of teed it all up. All right, so here's an example of an AI-driven program called PACE, and it's Cloud Titan. Where's Cloud Titan in the room? Is Jazz? She's not here yet. So you're going to hear, I think after lunch, from Jasmina. Jasmina and Cloud Titan are kind of helping us, but this is kind of an example, and you can see lots of fancy words on here like alternative least squares, type of modeling, frequent pattern growth. Forget all that. You'll get a read about that. But that's what's really key is underneath it. What does that really mean? Predictive modeling. What are our resellers really buying? And how can that equate to your products? How can we really drill down and really help identify more? If a partner is buying a lot of X, they should be buying yours. So predictive analysis, et cetera, and then time series and frequency, et cetera. So this is an example. Next slide, I wanted to show, well, this is a use case. You always have to have a use case. Most important thing on this slide is that the results, 11 resellers sold an additional 939,000, and reactivation of inactive resellers, which I think a lot of our vendors tell us they got enough partners and resellers, they just don't have enough good ones. They don't have the loyal ones. They don't have ones they can count on. They have opportunistic ones that do one deal and they go away forever. So we took those inactive resellers, and there was another additional 6 million out of this kind of program. So the PACE program, next slide, the key to this, when you get this deck and you look at it, the pricing model on the bottom. Our marketing team has figured out a way to do either a flat fee of so much per quarter. If they think there's enough volume that you'll be generating from this, you can select that option, or pay per performance. 3% on any net new sales that we helped you get. If we don't get you a net new sale, you pay us nothing. And that's worth repeating. Go to any distributor out there. If they're not modern, they're not helping you, right? And so we're helping our partners by giving them an option, and our vendors, and we're saying, we're going to put together this program. We're going to be using AI to drive it, and we're so confident you could pay us a couple different ways. We're not a nonprofit. Did I mention no, I won't go there. But we need to make something, so it's either you can take this option or pay to play. We will perform and only get 3% of the net sale. Anyway, and then this last slide on marketing, it's a whole journey, and there's a lot of touch points all through it. Any of you that have a marketing hat or been through marketing, this is probably music to you. You know this stuff, but we live it every day. We have a marketing teams that this is so important for us to make sure that we're staying on top of for our ISVs. Next slide. And events. We did 300 events. A modern distributor has got to be out in the field. They can't be behind forklifts, driving forklifts only. We got to be out in the field. So 300 events we did last year, and we've got that many planned for this year. There's not even that many business days in a year. So guess what? We're out at multiple events every single day across the country. And this is just a North America number. And because we still believe that personal relationships matter, and you need to network, you need to get out there and be relevant for them. And then we do a lot in social media. Public sector, all I'm going to say about public sector in 1 minute is whether it's SLED that you want to really go after, it's E-rate business, which we're a leader in that whole SLED field, or your solution might fit into the DoD or one of the military branches. It's a federal requirements require a whole different source of transaction. The data cannot leave the confines of the United States, and the data order flow cannot be touched by anybody other than a U.S. citizen. So we've set up and invested as the modern distributor in a federal-only focused U.S. citizen, U.S. soil back office system to process that kind of business for you and to get on the right contracts. That's enough of that slide. And we have a diversity alliance program we've built, which is for the women-owned, the 8As, because sometimes that's really important in government, that order must be processed by a partner that fits into that category. So we've got 100 involved in our DAP program, we call it, that we feed business to, and they're really good at this kind of business and getting business done. Next is services, and all I'm going to say about services here is that whether it's pre-sales, engineering services, implementation services, level 1, level 2 support you might need, we've got you covered. Just come and talk to us. And our resellers love this because our resellers, some of them have huge, if you're a WWT or CDW, you probably got a lot of services covered. But I'll tell you, there's thousands of resellers across North America that don't have that strength. They don't have that bench, and they need to leverage somebody to go get the deals and appear bigger. And that's where they leverage our services as a modern distributor. Go on. And then renewals, you want to cover this one, Logan?
Yeah, absolutely.
30 seconds.
Yeah.
Okay.
We'll keep this one brief, guys.
Yeah.
So a big part of everyone's business, we know, if you're in software, is renewals. The goal here is to just make that as simplified as possible. We've got a team and a platform called RenewSolve that helps solve for this, makes things easy, makes billing and payment easy. It's essentially you want to drive customer relationships, foster those long-term relationships with customers, and get that recurring revenue.
Yes, and if you want the renewal notice to come from the reseller, wants to have their logo on it and they're doing the renewal notification to the end user for your products, no problem. Or you can have yours, your logo on it. We do it any way the vendor wants.
Absolutely. And last one, we'll keep this one brief since I know we've gone over, is financing. So a big part of what Matt said earlier is you never want to hear a rep say that you lost a deal because of funds. So modern distributors should be getting creative, offering financing options for you. There's lots of ways that you can set this up, but essentially the big takeaway here is you get paid up front, reseller gets paid up front, and we take on the financial burden and eliminate any financial barriers that may cause problems in getting deals pushed through. So if anyone has any questions on that, feel free to ask us about us afterwards.
Yes, and we went about a minute over, and I feel terrible about that because I don't like to take anybody else's time. But please, folks, if anybody talks about distribution or it comes up in a conversation about the channel, please just don't think of us as forklifts, planes, trains, and automobiles. We still do that. We still do it really well. And our automated robotics center in Fontana, California is a thing of beauty. You should, if you do have products that you make, it's hard goods, you should see it sometime and take a tour. But think of us as about helping you with really getting automated, about leaning into the marketplaces and getting more and more visibility. We can help you and take costs out of your operations, and enablement is so important. The training and ongoing training and capabilities there. And then we want to help accelerate your sales because then we all win and all tides are lifted. last slide, I think, is a way to reach us. So that QR code is, I think, goes to my LinkedIn, and I would love to hear from any one of you that have an idea or just say, hey, you went way too fast. Can you slow down and cover this topic a little bit more? I will get you engaged with the right people at TD SYNNEX that live it every day and will help engage. So, Robb, thank you for the time. Thank you.